Welcome back to Design Build Workshop. Today we're going to work on a 1950s atomic era ray gun. Been wanting to build something like this for a while. Come on along, let's have some fun. So I've always loved the designs of the 1950s science fiction serials where you have, the Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, those kind of things, and that design kind of cross between Art Deco and the atomic era. A lot of curvy kind of stuff going on, really imaginative. Some of it's pretty simple, but I kind of wanted to take my take on what that 1950s ray gun would be for me. And so today is the start of that build. So I began with an outline, which is what this is right here. And once I did the initial outline, I went ahead and printed that piece as just a 1/4 inch template. And that's when I realized that the handle was of gargantuan size. So I made some notes on here as far as what I was going to change. I wanted to take out some of this piece. Obviously I needed to cut like half of the handle off. And I wanted to shorten this piece up and bring this in a little bit. So what I did then was I went ahead and extruded the whole piece 2.5 or 2.25 inches. So I had this solid block that I was working with. And from that point, I just started to add fillets. So added curvature throughout the whole piece and basically accentuate these pieces. These holes, I'll explain that in a second. And then once I got done with all of the radiuses, in other words, curving it all up, giving it a kind of a 1950s look, but also, like I said, my take on it. So I think it's a little more modern than that as far as what I like as far as design. Then it was adding some details. So I did this cutout here, which I'll show in a second, which is on both sides. And then I went ahead and did these cutouts because that's where I'm going to put a couple dials for adjusting the ray gun. So then I split that in half and then shelled out the piece so it's hollow inside. And then that way I've got essentially this. Right, so this was printed out in that half section. And of course I did another half, which is the opposite side. And then those will go together like so, right? And then for the detail, what I wanted to do beyond the body was with this 3/4 inch cutout. So then I did this piece. And this is just kind of like I guess like an exhaust area, or heat exchanger, some way to dissipate heat. And so how that works is that's basically 3/4 inch. So I'm adding this piece like so. And then on this side, I've got a detail piece that's going to go on the end there. And that fits right where that dial is. And then the other side, we've got that piece like so, and then more of a conical finish piece that's going to go like so. And I did the dials. So then I wanted to work on kind of those iconic pieces that I consider iconic to the design, and that is these cones, these concentric cones that come off the end of the ray gun. And so what that is basically these pieces right here, and they're hollow, and then I've got holes through here because what I'm hoping to do is add some LED light to go in here and through the center, and then I'm gonna have plexi that we're going to put in between the pieces, and they'll sandwich in there, and that'll all be held in with the brass rod that's going to run through everything, which is why the body has all those holes in it, to accept those. And that's why what these pieces are, because that's where the brass rod will run through right there. And then all these pieces kind of click together. These were the original ones. I don't have the holes in there for the light to come through, but they click together like that. And so here's an assembled piece for that, and that's what the amount of pieces I'm going to have. So you can see there's holes through all of those, and that should hopefully let the light emit through. I'm not sure if it's enough, so we're going to find that out, but we'll see what happens with that. This is the tip that I've got here, and then when the whole thing goes together, it's going to essentially kind of look like that. The other thing I wanted to do too is I wanted to kind of make a separate handle piece. So did this, and I just generated this off of the existing handle shape that's right here. So I just worked off of this and then created this overmold handle. The only issue is I tried to get away with something that you really can't get away with, and that is I went ahead and made, this is basically 3/4 of an inch, the thickness of this handle, and then the overlay part is also 3/4 of an inch on the inside. You can't put 3/4 of an inch over 3/4 of an inch. It's not, the space does not exist. So I had to do a lot of filing to take this down so this would fit over the top of it. That's fine, but I should have known better. Here, let's go ahead. These are the brass rods. We're going to go ahead and hide this one. Okay, so we've got holes drilled all the way through, and if we're going through the plexi as well as the little divot that's in these conical pieces, and then this way it lets me know where the hole is going to have to be in the body. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reprint these pieces so that those holes are already in here, because trying to line that up and drill those holes through is going to be really tough. So we're going to go ahead and just reprint these side, the body pieces, so we can have that set. And then the next thing to do, I guess, is to figure out colors. Most of this whole thing is going to be like a silver chrome. I think we'll do, as far as the light emitting, I think we're going to go for, probably like a blue or something like that. I think will look nice. And so by the time the whole thing kind of comes together, you've got the handle piece here. This I went ahead and painted black. And that goes on like so. Of course, this all needs to get glued up. And we've got the handle piece. And then, of course, you got that. So it's coming together pretty well. Next thing you do is going to be throw some paint on it, glue it up, of course, and kind of see where we go from there. I 3D printed a template to drill the holes in the acrylic pieces so I could provide some consistency and alignment. I had to use a hole saw when cutting the acrylic. Ideally, I would have used a laser cutter, resulting in a much more accurate piece. However, I don't have one, so I'll have to make do. Working the edges of the acrylic went pretty well using the drill press. The combination of acrylic and brass, along with the 3D printed parts, was definitely the most challenging and time-consuming part of the whole build. So here's the prototype together. I went ahead and tried drilling the holes where the brass rods go through, and I was off. You can tell I had to bend the rods to actually get them to kind of go into the body. That's fine. But the ones that are printing now, you know, the holes are already set. So they'll be in the exact right spot when we're done. And what we're going to change right now, so I kind of represented the colors in the screen here of what we've got. I think I kind of like this color. I don't know, I may want to go a little lighter. We'll have to see. I think about the inside of the cone right behind the plexi. I think I may go with like a gold to do that. And then of course, you know, what's represented in the drawing and the actual model is that there are 6 cones, not 5. Like I said, I screwed up when I cut the brass rod. So the other half of this is printing right now. I need to figure out a way to remove one of these side panels so I can put batteries and wiring inside. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the overall look. Like I said, it's going to be just a little bit longer, which is what I would prefer. So this is, like I said, we're going to call this a prototype, and the next one is going to be hopefully the finished model. And you know, we're going to go ahead and sand that one down and remove all the seams and all that kind of thing, so it looks nice. I may still weather this one to see if I want to weather the final or not. And then I need to start testing out on the next one how much light I can actually emit through the edge of these plexi pieces. I'm not really sure right now how much I can get to come through. We'll have to see how intense the LEDs are, but we'll have to kind of go from there. And I'm also kind of thinking about, you know, maybe making these dials adjustable, but I'm not sure right now. And the other thing we have to do is we've got to figure out a trigger mechanism. So I'll put that into this next one as well. And hopefully in the next edition of this video set, we'll have the completed one, or we'll go through the completed construction of it. Anyway, thanks for joining me on Design Build Workshop. See you next time.